Welcome back. We're in the studio here with Scott, and we're talking about wilderness sports.
That's right. It's a big weekend. It's a busy weekend.
It is. It is a big weekend.
You know, with President's Day weekend coming up for not just us, but a lot of the shops, you know, this is when we really take a chance to start, you know, trying to drive some traffic into the stores. And we've got some pretty good deals going on this weekend, you know, as a part of that.
Yeah,
so,
and you said stores, because you guys actually have 2 locations.
we do. We have a store on Main Street in Frisco, right at 400 East Main, right by the intersection there at the four-way stop. And then we have a store in Dillon at 701 Anemone Trail. And for those that don't know Anemone Trail, it's right next to the Red Mountain Grill. So
Yeah,
most people
very
know
easy to
that
find.
milestone.
Awesome. And now I know it's going to be one of those weekends where everyone is coming into the stores asking you what the deals are. So I'm going to ask you first.
Well, we'll just start out. I mean, basically, to simplify, about every ski we have in the store has some level of deal going on. You know, whether it's 15% off up to some of those are 30, 35% off, depending on what the ski is. Same thing with bindings. Most of the bindings in the store right now are 10 to 20% off. And we've got some killer deals going on boots as well. So,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
if somebody wanted to come in and get a setup, we could get them out on, you know, an AT or telemark setup with a boot that's, you know, going to be a custom fit, heat molded boot for both telemark or alpine touring. And they're going to get out with a really good deal.
And the best part, you know, just talking about AT setups, you guys are really the experts at that, not only because you sell it, but you play around on all that gear as well.
Yeah, I mean, every single employee we have is out, you know, either touring on an AT setup or telemark setup, you know, 3-4 days a week. I mean, that's what we do. We don't force it. That's just what we choose to do and what everybody wants to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, we use all the gear. We try and get out on every single thing we sell so that we can talk about it intelligently and give you an honest opinion, you know, as what we're going to use it for. Because all those, what we sell, there's a lot of specific uses and a lot of intended uses for that gear. You know, some skis are more for touring, some are more for going downhill. So depending on what you're going to do, it's good to get, you know, some insight as to what you're buying.
Yeah, and it's awesome because if you go in there and you have like a laundry list of questions, well, you guys have probably heard them all.
We have, and you know, that's what we love. I mean, most of the time, if we sell a ski setup from the time the person first walks through the door until we have those boots fitted up, you know, and molded up and ready to get that person going, it can be an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah.
We don't try and rush it. We don't try and push it through. We want to make sure they get the right gear. One of the other things that we do is we do have demos for just about everything we sell. So if you're on the fence between 2 skis, you know, the best thing you can do is take both of those skis to the resort out of our demo fleet, ski them both, see what you like. Same thing, you can try a couple different types of bindings or boots, and then come back and we'll get you set up.
Yeah, you wouldn't buy a car without test driving it, right?
You know, it's a big expense, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not cheap gear. And it's a good idea to get out there and give it a whirl before you drop the dollar.
And then talking about outerwear, I know you guys are also going to be doing an outerwear sale as well.
We do. I mean, this is just about that time when we start trying to clear the inventory out of some of that winter gear. I mean, we're already looking at spring. So, you know, all of our down right now is 30% off. So if you wanted to get that down sweater, anything from the ultralight sweaters to, you know, something a little burlier, big 800 fill power coat, we've got all those still. And we've got, you know, Rab, Patagonia, Mountain Hardwear. We've got the brand still. We've got sizes still. We've got color selection still. And there are some great deals going on.
Yeah, and if you live in Summit County or if you're just visiting, you got to have the puffy jacket. I mean, it's kind of pretty much standard issue.
A staple. You know, the question is how many.
Yeah, and how many different colors. I know. You look through my closet these days, I'm kind of becoming one of those gear collectors, but that's just what you do when you live in the mountains.
You know, on that same note, you know, winter footwear, any of our winter specific boots, you know, some of the slip-on winter specific shoes, we've got those going at 25% off right now too. Just trying to clear that room out.
And then speaking of sales, I always like to mention that you guys have a really amazing consignment area in your store as well.
We do, and upstairs in our Dillon shop, we have a consignment and closeouts area. So we do a lot with the manufacturers that we sell. We buy a lot of their leftover gear from previous years. So we have new gear up there that is just previous year's models, and we have a ton of consignment. And some of our consignment is, you know, practically brand new, some of it with the tags on, and it's the brands that we sell. So I mean, you're looking at Arc'teryx, Mountain Hardwear, Marmot, North Face, Patagonia. It is not cheap stuff, and it's in good condition. We're very picky about what we bring in.
Yeah, when you did bring in kind of some samples from the consignment shop, I had to pause and say, oh, wait, these aren't new? It was almost unbelievable, the quality that you were able to get.
Typically at a maximum half price of what it would be new, oftentimes much less than that. We have a cascading price process, so if they sit in inventory for over 2 months, the price automatically drops down. They're all tagged to show that. We also have skis and boots up there, cross-country skis, anything, you know, telemark and alpine touring related.
It's fun to go up there. I like going out there. I'm always like, oh, need that, need that.
There's always new stuff, and we're always working with our manufacturers too to try and bring in their old demos, their old, you know, we don't just take it from folks that walk in. You know, working with the local rep firms in this area. We're lucky to have a lot of them around.
Yeah.
Where they've got their own demo fleets, and we just buy those at the lot. So
yeah, there's so much inventory when you go into Wilderness Sports, and this will be the weekend to go because they're having a huge President's Day sale. If you've been eyeing that jacket or that pair of skis or the boots, I'm just going to say, this is going to be the weekend.
Now's the time. And the great thing about this weekend is this is when the deals are starting, and you've still got 2 months to use it at the resorts. And for the gear we sell, you don't need the resorts. I hardly ever ride chairlifts. I mean, you've got 3 or 4 months to still ski.
Exactly.
So
I'm excited. I think 6 more weeks of winter is what we were in store for. Isn't that what Groundhog Day was all about? Let's keep our fingers crossed, at least. So go and check them out. Like I said, they have 2 locations. They're in Frisco Main Street. And they're also in Dillon on Anemone Trail. If you want a little sneak peek, well, you can check them out on the web as well. And yeah, it's a good way to support local business, especially if you're up here in Summit County visiting. And once you go into the store, it's hard to walk out without something. I can attest to that for sure. Well, thanks, Scott, so much. I know you're probably going to have a busy weekend, so we're going to let you get out of here.
Thank you.
We got more Summit Sunrises to come before we close out the show at 9 o'clock, so stick around.